thank you so much for joining this webinar. I know we have people across the world. So again, thanks for taking your time and attending this webinar. Today we are going to talk about enabling enterprise digital transformation. My name is Mayur Shah. I'm a senior product manager and customer success manager here at WaveMaker. I'll be doing the initial part of the presentation. And then during the later part of the webinar, I'll hand it over to Venugopal Jidigam, my colleague and director of cloud platform. He is going to give you a live demo of a customer banking application built right in front of you. So stay tuned for that, and we'll be waiting for that exciting time. So with that, let's get started. In terms of the agenda, we're going to talk about an overview of WaveMaker. We'll then talk about what it means to be a digital business, and we'll talk about the history of digital business in order to understand the digital transformation story better. We'll then talk about an enterprise digital transformation in terms of the capabilities that an enterprise requires from a technology platform that is looking to transform itself digitally. In that regard, we'll talk about WaveMaker's rapid application delivery platform and how WaveMaker's RAD tool can be used to create digital apps in minutes. At that point, we will hand it over to Venu, who will do a live customer banking app creation. And then finally, we will open up for Q&A section where we'll take your questions during the end of the webinar. If for some reason we are not able to get to all the questions, then we will get back to you after the webinar. Also, this webinar is recorded so that you will see a recording of the slides as well as the whole webinar on our website. So with that, one warm welcome to all of you for attending this webinar, and let's get started. WaveMaker is part of Pramati Technologies, our parent company. Some of you in this call may be aware of Pramati Technologies. Pramati has been serving enterprise customers since the last decade. We were the first company to come up with the J2E 1.2 certified application server back in 1998. Since then, Pramati has been innovating on a number of fronts. We have built a number of companies over the years. WaveMaker happens to be one of them in US and UK, as well as multiple places in India. We have about 1,000+ employees, and we've been serving primarily enterprise customers since the last decade. In order to understand digital transformation, now let's take a step back and talk about digital business. Since the 1980s, we saw the emergence of client-server systems. Right? Back then, enterprises used these systems to automate their internal processes and to create people interaction among themselves. Then in 1990s, we saw the emergence of the web and the e-commerce, and that's where we saw a direct consumer interaction between people and businesses. Then came the 2000 era, and we saw a lot of automation of existing business processes, workflows, and being able to create customized experiences between people and businesses. In this decade, since 2010 and yet far, we are seeing a complete emergence of new interaction between people, business, and things. And when we talk about things, we are talking about physical objects that are active players and contribute to business value. This could be sensors, asset tracking systems, smart machines, smart grids, smart cities, and so on and so forth. And it is this interaction between people, things, and businesses that is creating enterprises the opportunity to create new business models in new ways and shapes that they never ever imagined before. And this is the sort of the emergence of what I call as the digital business. In this digital business, we are seeing that enterprises are primarily operating in the digital world as opposed to the physical world. Enterprises are looking at creating new platforms, new ecosystems, and new aggregation systems to better monetize their services. It's all about now creating an end user experience which is highly immersive for your customers. It's about not just connecting to a small set of systems, but it's about connecting to people, to systems, to processes, and to anything and everything that has business value for the enterprise. And doing so by using innovative technologies in all ways and shapes that were not possible earlier. Finally, it's about creating new business models and new revenue channels for enterprises that are looking to digitally transform themselves. Now the question is it for real? Let's look at some of the stats. Since 2000, 52% of companies in the Fortune 500 have either gone bankrupt or have been acquired or ceased to exist due to the emergence of new digital models. That's a huge number. In terms of predictions, IDC predicts that by 2017, 60% of the top 1,000 enterprises in Asia Pacific will either have a digital transformation at the heart of their corporate strategy. And by 2020, Gartner expects that 75% of businesses will be a digital business or will be preparing to become one. That is big numbers for you right there. And across industry we are seeing today, be it an airline industry, be it a pharmaceutical industry, be it a telecom industry, be it a retail industry, we are seeing digital transformation happening at a rapid pace across every industry, across every vertical. So to understand enterprise digital transformation, we need to look at what is happening within the enterprise. It all starts from the top, isn't it? We have overall digital strategy that gets put in place by the Chief Digital Strategy Officer, who is looking at creating the overall strategy. And from that emerges digital teams and processes that can model that strategy. And then it's being able to create digital content and have digital marketing in place that can take the digital services and assets and make it relevant for the stakeholders. And this is a long process, right? It doesn't happen in days, but it takes sometimes months and years for this whole transformation to happen. But what we are seeing across all the industries is that for a digital transformation to happen, enterprises require a technological enablement platform that can execute on the digital strategy. And we believe that that platform fundamentally needs to address the ability to create apps and to create APIs to have the transformation take place successfully. Let's talk a little bit more about the technological enablement platform. The platform needs to address 5 key ingredients or requirements for such a transformation to happen. First of all, it has to be about data, being able to connect to multiple data sources and make it available for the enterprise to use. It all has to be about APIs. How do you take those data and quickly connect to it and interact with it using APIs? And then once you have the data and APIs in place, it's about creating apps which are responsive apps or mobile apps so that end users can benefit from that experience. Then being able to take those apps and deploying it in a public infrastructure or a private cloud infrastructure so that those apps are always available and always accessible for your stakeholders. And finally, for enterprises that are looking to take a step further, it is about taking the data that you have and making it available for your third party and your partners. And to do that by taking your APIs and publishing it so that an ecosystem can be built around your APIs. So it's about having all these 5 capabilities in the platform. Let's take a step back and look at, for an enterprise looking to digitally transform itself, there are expectations that are set by various stakeholders. For the developers, it's about creating simplified UIs. Digital apps and digital experience is all about UI. To make it easier for developers to create that UI is a key part of the platform. It's about being able to then create these applications and prototypes rapidly so that you can take advantage of the opportunities in front of you. It's about creating an API-centric web application environment where you can create and make use of APIs that are available to you today. More than half of digital transformation apps today are about mobile apps. So being able to quickly create mobile apps is a key requirement for developers. Being able to provide a collaborative environment where product managers, developers, and user experience people can come together and create these apps is a key need of the hour. And finally, for developers to take and create APIs so that they can publish it is also important. In terms of end users within the enterprise or outside the enterprise, it is about user experience. Having great, good-looking user experience that provides integrated and fast and engaging web experiences is important. It has to be customized and personalized, and it has to be available anytime on any social and media channel. For the enterprise that is going through the digital transformation, they are looking at a number of expectations. It's all about agility, isn't it? Today's digital transformation is happening at a very rapid pace, and enterprises that can quickly deliver digital apps will be the ones that can take the most advantage of such a transformation. It's about taking your legacy burden and creating it into a business advantage, and then allowing a unified experience to all your customers across all endpoints in a secure, scalable, and maintainable manner. And then, end of the day, enterprises are looking for low-cost environments where they can create such culture. Finally, for enterprises that are looking to take their APIs and take it to their partners and developers, it's about creating an app ecosystem so that they can take advantage of their services. In the past few years, we are seeing some technologies that radically transform the creation of digital apps. It's about using, today we see a plethora of front-end technologies, right, from your Angular JS to frameworks to tools and technologies out there to create apps. Every single day we see the emergence of a new device or a tablet that needs to be supported. It's supporting all the various browsers across all these devices. API growth is of unprecedented nature. As of last count, we see that there are about 14,000 APIs that are out there for digital apps to consume. It's about taking these apps and making them available on a public or a private cloud infrastructure so that they are available always, anytime, anywhere. And finally, it's about creating an environment where developers can easily connect to various code repositories and start creating value around existing services that are already available. And that is where we see the emergence of a modern, rapid application delivery platform suitable to create digital apps. It's about taking your end user expectations, your enterprise expectations, developer expectations, and bringing in all the technological innovations that have happened in the past few years to create a modern, rapid application delivery platform. Let's talk about some of the needs that are addressed by the modern RAP platform in terms of creating digital apps. First and foremost, by the ability that it provides with simplified codeless application development, it helps you to rapidly develop applications. So you now drag and drop your applications, and it basically does code generation behind the covers. It's about creating high focus and immersive user experiences that allow for unified experiences across all channels, be it tablet, mobile, as well as desktop interfaces. Being able to quickly bind data and have data available and expose as business data becomes a key aspect of a modern RAD platform. It's about creating seamless API-centric applications so that you can digitize every asset that is available within your enterprise. It provides out-of-the-box security from an authentication authorization standpoint so that your digital apps are secure from the get-go. It's about taking these apps and then making it available on the cloud infrastructure so that you can scale up and scale down your applications depending on the nature of your digital app. And finally, being able to provide an API management offering so that you can take APIs if you need to and publish it to your stakeholders, be it your partners or third-party developers. And that is where a modern RAD addresses the needs of this modern digital app infrastructure. So now let's talk about one such platform called WaveMaker. WaveMaker is a modern rapid application delivery platform that helps enterprises rapidly develop digital apps in days and not in months. It does so by encompassing all the activities right from design, where you can take page layouts, templates, themes, and create your designs quickly. To be able to build your application in a rapid application development paradigm, to create modern multi-responsive both desktop applications as well as hybrid applications, to be able to allow multiple developers to share their code repository and APIs and quickly develop your application, to be able to then integrate to various data sources, be it your databases, web services, APIs, or IoT type of devices, to be able to then take your applications and deploy using one click to a public cloud infrastructure or a private cloud infrastructure, and finally be able to manage this entire cycle in a very seamless manner. That's what WaveMaker gives you. WaveMaker is an open standards-based rapid application development platform that helps you to turbocharge your application development and delivery timeframe. It provides you with a browser-based drag and drop environment to build your application. So it's a visual development environment. It does, the apps that are built using WaveMaker are open standards based. So on the client side, it uses AngularJS and Bootstrap for your applications, and for the server side, it uses Spring Hibernate as well as Apache Cordova for mobile hybrid applications. It provides you with a responsive design, so the same application can run on the tablet as well as on the mobile without any line of change of code. Similarly, you can also create mobile hybrid applications using a visual drag and drop paradigm now for both Android devices as well as for iOS devices. It gives you an inbuilt data model designer, so you can bring in and create your own data models right in the tool, or you can import your database from any external SQL data sources into the platform. More importantly, it gives you the ability to take your existing data assets, be it your legacy data, data coming out of your information systems, databases, cloud services, or IoT data, and convert that and expose that as REST actions in minutes. It gives you inbuilt security for your digital apps. So the apps are protected both from an authentication standpoint. There's an inbuilt login module. You can plug in various authentication providers based on your enterprise needs. It also gives you authorization controls, so you can get both fine-grained authorization as well as coarse-grained authorization for your applications. It gives you the ability to pick and choose templates and use them inside your applications. And this helps you to jumpstart your digital application development much easier. So we give you a number of out-of-the-box templates, both for the web as well as for mobile, to use and use them within your application. It gives you the ability to create an app and then take it and deploy it to the cloud through a one-click deployment to either to a public cloud infrastructure as in AWS, or you can deploy it to your own internal private cloud using a one-click deployment model. So across the board abilities to allow you to create digital apps quickly, faster, and easier for enterprises that are looking to transform themselves digitally. If you go to our website, we have a number of applications across a number of different segments, be it dashboards, catalogs, IoT applications, mobile applications, sales dashboard, that are available as showcase applications for you to see and try it out. WaveMaker as a product comes in various offerings. We provide WaveMaker Enterprise, which gives you a platform that can be deployed inside your enterprise to create these digital apps. Or also you have the capability to go to WaveMaker Online and create these apps as a cloud service. And also we have WaveMaker Gateway, which gives you an API management offering to take your APIs and publish it to your stakeholders and create an application ecosystem around it. In essence, we give you a complete platform, starting from a collaborative environment for allowing multiple collaboration to create applications in a collaborative manner, to providing a WaveMaker Studio that allows you to do a rapid application development and delivery of your web applications and mobile. WaveMaker Cloud offering to take these apps and deploy to a private or public cloud infrastructure, to a WaveMaker Gateway offering, which gives you an API management product to take your APIs and take it out to the external world. And finally, a WaveMaker Launchpad offering that gives you a management plane for the entire infrastructure. In essence, big infrastructure for you to embark on your digital transformation journey. With that, I'd like to now pass over to Venu, who will basically take you through a live creation of a customer banking application right here. Over to you, Venu.
Yeah, thanks, Mayur. Hi, everybody. Good morning. So today I'll be showing you the building of a live application in WaveMakerOnline.com. As you all are aware, that WaveMakerOnline.com is a SaaS offering from WaveMaker for RAD Studio. So in this particular application, what we want to do is we want to build a banking application by Capital One Hackathon. So if you look at it, this is the Capital One Hackathon API, which is called Messi, and it will give you APIs with which you can redefine how banking application look like. So, and this provides you live public-facing APIs, but with a mock data. So, using this data, we plan to, we are planning to build a WaveMaker application for live. So, let's say I log in with my account. Once you log in into your banking application, the first thing that you would like to see is the summary or a dashboard view of your account, where there are total number of accounts and then total balance and total rewards and balance across each of the account types as a dashboard. And also, you want to look at each account and then look at its transactions. So here it is showing you that I have a couple of applications, a couple of accounts, and when you click on each account, it will go and get the data of the corresponding requests for transfers, deposits, or withdrawals, and it will also provide you automatic pagination option across all your transactions. Apart from that, it will also provide you a live, transfer of amount from one account to another account. Let's say I want to transfer amount from one of my account to another account. So which will automatically make the transaction and make the current window to be replaced with the new data. Apart from this, it will also provide you an ATM locator, which will integrate with Google Maps and then shows you list of ATMs available at your location. So this is the application that we will be building live on right now from the scratch. And to work with, how does application architecture look like? So what is actually Capital One is giving us? If you look at Capital One, you can go and register with this account, Capital One account using your GitHub account, and then they will give you an API key. API key is mandatory for accessing any of their APIs. So then after that, you have to go through the documentation for APIs. So they have both APIs for enterprise accounts and customer accounts. So we are going mostly on the customer accounts, where it is giving you a list of accounts, ATMs, and customer details, their deposits and transfers. So using these APIs, we will be integrating these APIs into our application. So the overall app architecture will be something like this. So if you look at it, the current chart that is shown in the dashboard of the application is actually getting the REST API, data from the Messi APIs and directly rendering it. And the banking application right now, if you look at it, it is giving you the data of individual customers by a given customer ID, but it doesn't have any login at this point of time for each individual account. So that is why I have to integrate the login with the database, which is inbuilt into the application, but whereas the data is coming directly from the bank API, Messi APIs. And overall WaveMaker application architecture is, you have a UI component and there's a backend component. So backend can consist of a data or a Java services or any other REST APIs. And in the UI, you provide the business logic and widgets and all other things where you can customize UI and use it for your according to your needs. Now let's go and build the application from the live. So now I'm logging into WaveMaker Online with my account. So once you log in into the WaveMaker application provides you a dashboard of your applications where you can see the current activity, and because it is a collaborative platform, you can even request your friends to, you can invite other members to join the project and contribute to your project. So right now I'm going to create a project called Next Gen Bank, which will provide you redefining the banking. So I'm creating an application here right now. So what I want to do in the first step is I want to go and create a list of ATMs. I want to integrate the ATMs first. So let's invoke it. So this is the Capital One Hackathon API which I mentioned. So here it will ask you for latitude and longitude values and with radius. Then you try it out. Then what it does is it will go and execute the command. and it will get you the list of ATMs available in your location in the JSON format. And this is the URL that it used to make the request, and then it got the response in the JSON format. Now let's try to import this particular thing into WaveMaker. So in the application creation, now once the application settings are saved, basically I'm going to select, for now right now I'm going to select the blank layout. I'll talk about the layout thing. Then what I want to do is I want to import the ATMs. Now instead of using the default API, I'm just invoking the ATMs API, which will give me the data. Then I'll go to the next. Then I'll call this as ATM locator service. So now when I import this, so it is giving me, okay, I want to auto update it so that when my application starts, this will go and fetch the data from the ATM service. So now I have the ATM data available with me. Now I have a variable that is pointing to the REST API. Now where do I show this? Now I want to create a page that is showing the ATMs. So I'll call this as ATM locator. Now in this ATM locator page, I'll just drag and drop, and I just use 2 column layout. I'll just use 1 column layout. So I don't need all these additional rows. I can just go ahead and delete it. Yeah. So now I'll just go and drag a label on it. Then I'll say switch to 100%. Then you can configure your styles based on your need, how you want to display this. And I want to show it just as H2 so that it looks bigger. Now what we want to do is, now we got the structure. I want to display the Google Maps integration. So we have a concept called prefab, where the Google Maps prefab is already predefined. So what you need to do is you just need to drag and drop the Google Maps prefab and then provide the data source for it. So what is a prefab? The prefab is something which which has the pre-built component with some UI functionality and backend functionality in it. So this can be reused across multiple applications. So now I'm going to use the ATM locator service data. I'll binding the ATM service data, which will ask for, okay, latitude and longitude. So I'll be mapping latitude and longitude values. And then it is asking me provide the info about the location. So I'm saying name, and I'll increase the zoom so that it looks better. Now when I click on, now what I need to do is I need to go to this page. So I'll just change this button. Instead of help, I'll say that this is an ATM locator. Now when I click on this button, I want it to take me to the ATM locator page. So I'll say go to page ATM locator. Now when I run this, you can immediately preview your changes here. Now we are viewing the page where I'll click on ATM locator, which will come with Google Maps prefab with the locations that are nearby your location. So now, since these WaveMaker applications are web responsive UIs, so you can also preview your application right now on mobiles and iPads and other devices as well. So if you look at it, it automatically switches to the mobile responsive view, and where you can see that this whole thing is rendered according to the size of the device where you are using it. So this is the ATM locator part. Now let's go back and build the remaining part of the application. Now in the virtual application, if you look at it, there is a summary dashboard. So, and as I mentioned that the Capital One API itself doesn't give you any authentication mechanism for invoking the API. Who is logging in, whose account you are looking at. So that kind of information is not there. So what we want to do is we have built a database out of it. So we just built one table which has just username and password and their customer ID, so that when the user logs in, you can use this as customer ID to invoke this data. So for this application, since you have SQL, since we have an SQL database, so I'll go and import into my database. So I'll just say import into my MySQL database, which is WaveMaker comes with by default with MySQL. So you can import any of the MySQL databases by choosing your file. So I'm going to use Capital One DB. and say execute. So the script is now imported successfully into my database, which is running in cloud. Now I'll just say, okay, import that database into my application. So WaveMaker supports out of box, it supports with Oracle, Postgres, and a SQL Server as well. So I'll select MySQL, and then I want to import it from next-gen database, which is the database name that I named it. And when I execute this, it will show the list of tables available in the database. As I mentioned, there's only one table. So I'm importing that table. So it is reading and generating the source code for you to work with these APIs, database APIs. So if you look at this as only this database. Now I want to enable security for my application. So let's go and enable security. And so when security, WaveMaker supports out of the box LDAP and Active Directory integrations as well. So we are going to use database security. Here I'll say that I'm using NextGen Bank and my user table is users table. And I need to define the user ID. The user ID should be the current customer ID here. And username is username that I'm logging in, password. And then I define the role as role. So now apart from this, you can define permissions for each and every page that you are defining. So now ATM locator is only going to be used, shown by only authenticated users, or you can define your own levels. So now when I run this application, now you just need to rerun it. Now when you run this application, now it will be showing you a login page. So far there is nothing. So now all of you see the login page is integrated. So now I'm logging in because I already created 3 users in the login database, so I'm using them. So now you can go to your ATM locator and see the data. Now let's go and build the dashboard for this. Now what I want to do is, instead of building the pages from the scratch, you can use one of our pre-built templates. So these templates can be actually designed by our UI experts, UX experts here, so which you can reuse for any of your applications. So these dashboards and these templates comes with only the UI, the bindings you have to make it. So I'm taking the bank dashboard. So if you look at this bank dashboard, this is coming up with some dummy data. So I need to go and bind these things with the information that I have from the variable. So right now I need to get the account. So we have not imported the accounts API yet. Now let's look at how does accounts API look like. Now for each customer, I want to get accounts. So if you look at it, this is the ID. This is the ID of a specific customer. So now to use this, I'll just import this API into my application. Now let's go back to again web service and use this. So it's got the data. Then I go to the next thing. So here this is the ID that I am passing from the current log. We need to pass it from the current logged in user. So I'll say that this is a pass parameter. So I'll call it as customer ID. Then once you call it as customer ID, this comes in the pass. So now this I'll call it as customer account service. Okay. So once I import this, now the thing is, we need to now enable the start update and then go to data and give the customer ID. As I mentioned in the security configuration, we have selected the logged in user ID as a customer ID. So that is the reason you need to go to the logged in user variable and then select the ID as a customer ID. Now what happens is, based on the user that you are logging in, this customer ID will be automatically used by the system to retrieve the data. Now what I want to do is, I want to go and display the caption. Instead of showing 5, I want to set the value of this with the size of the variable. So now I have a customer service variable. I'll say data set. I'll just say length of it. And then I have to calculate the total balance. So for this, right now we don't have a out-of-the-box support for these kind of things. So what you can do is you can write a simple JavaScript that will help you to calculate the values. So let me show you that. Now I have customer service. Then in the events, when the data is coming to the browser, I want to write a JavaScript. So I'll just go and write a JavaScript. So now here, I'll just write 2 lines of code, which will, what it does is, if you look at it, it is trying to iterate over each of the data element and then it is aggregating all the data. So then I define 2 variables called total balance and total reward separately. So I'll go to my page then instead of using total balance here, I'll use the data variable from the JavaScript. This will get this dashboard. Now what I want to do is I want to build a chart. So now this chart, this data has to come again from the the REST API. So I want to display a pie chart, then a column chart. Now the data for this should be again coming from customer service accounts. The reason, if you look at it, each customer service account has its balance and its reward type. So now I'll just bind it with data set. Then I'll say that my label data should be of the type, and then my value should be on the balance. Now I want to show you that it's going to show the legends, and I also want to display a value instead of a percentage. Same thing I want to do this for rewards. Let's say I'll just bind the same variable. And I'll apply the rewards here. Now you have many other configurations, right, where you want to show the legend and whether you want to show the legend or not, and all other configurations. Now if you look at it, your dashboard application, dashboard page is ready. So let's log in again. Okay, I have not linked the dashboard page as a the landing page. So what we can do is we can go to the security. We can say that my page is the landing page for this particular user. So I'll say for all users, I want to use it as a landing page. So I'll just go and save this configuration. Now I'll just run it. Sorry. Now the dashboard page has become the default page than the main page which was earlier created. Now you the reward points, and for every account it is showing the amount that is there in the account, and it's showing the total balance and all these options. Now what is missing is the account page. So let's go back and build the account page for this. So I'll build an account page. So now this account page, I want to link this account page from the top navigation. So instead of calling orders, I will call this as accounts. And when the account is clicked, I want it to go to accounts page. To go to accounts page. Now the integration is done. Now let's go back and do what we want to do in the accounts. So in the accounts page, first of all, I want to show a live list. Okay, first let me let me structure my layout. So I have the layout ready. In this layout, I want to show the two columns. And in the first one, I want to take it as a full width, so that I just want to display a message, a label again. And then the second row, I want to use it as full for the application. So now in this thing, since we are using a bootstrap layout, you need to set the weights one of these ranges. So I'm going to use layout as 4, and then the second one will be 8. Let me show you what I'm trying to do here. I just put a label here. So that label says that click on account on the left to do its transaction. So I will take that as again 100%, and then I'll go with make it as 3. Now what I want to do is I want to bring a live list which shows list of my accounts. Since we already imported the accounts API, let's bind the accounts API with this. Now I want to give a data source as my same accounts API. Okay. So now the accounts API is now going to list down all the list of accounts. But I want to change the title to point that it's a name of the account. So I'll use the nickname from this as the account title, the panel title. Then I want to use some badge which tells you whether it is what type of account it is. So the type of the account, I'll badge it here. Then I don't want to display the account ID because we already have the account ID. So I'll just call this as, instead of account ID, I'll just call it the account number so that I can show the account number immediately. And then I'll move the balance to the down. Then instead of nickname, I'll just show rewards. And then instead of type, I'll show this as balance. Now I don't need to show the customer ID. Now if you look at it, I want to show the balance in right aligned, let's say. And I want to show 1 pixel width so that it is bigger. And maybe you can show different color to indicate that this is the amount that you're looking. And then the same balance API, I'll just put it on the left. So this completes my list of accounts. Let's look at this. Let's run it again and then check. Now you see this. There are multiple accounts that is showing, and for each account it is showing the account number, reward, and balance. So we can style it better. This is the default layout. And now what I want to do is I want to build the UI for transfer. I'll take another grid layout. I'll just say that this has only one column in it. So the remaining things I can remove it. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to drag and drop a tab. This tab, I want to have something like transfers. And then you can create more tabs. Yeah, you can add more tabs. And each tab you can name it as transfers, deposits, and withdrawals. Now within the transfer page, I want to display a list of transfers. But for that, I need to import another API that shows me the transfers by account ID. So now I'm here. It is giving me another API which is called transfers by ID. So now I'll take this information. So now I'll import the transfer request, transfer service, which is again a GET request. Yeah. So now I go to the next page. Now here, if you look at it, this is again an account ID. So I have to use account ID here, and then it's going to use these things. I'll rename the service saying that transfer service, and I'll import this. Now I have the transfer service imported. So I will map the data of the account ID of the selected item in the live list. So I already have the live list. So I'll use the live list items ID. Another thing I want to do is I want to show the data of both account. Right now, if you look at it, the transfer can be either the current account holder is a payee or payer. So I want to display both. So I just remove that type. So if the type is not provided, it will automatically get the transactions for both. Now I want to show them in a grid. So let's drag and drop a grid and map the grid source to the live variable that we just created. So I'll map this to my transfer service. And this will automatically get the list of date columns and all these things. But I don't want to show some of the columns. So I'll just move the payer ID up. So then I want to show the payee ID. Then amount. I don't want to show the ID. And its status I want to show. Then let's move this up. And then description. Then remaining things it depends on what you want to show and what you don't want to show. Another thing is we will also provide you an option whether it has to be shown in the mobile device or not. So basically you can control the list of columns in the mobile device and as well as desktop. So now when I run this, now that the dashboard page is already there and accounts page, when you click on accounts, it is actually getting the list of accounts that you have, and then it is automatically updating the data here. You see that? So just we'll increase the size of the grid so that you can see it very clearly. Instead of 200 pixels, I'll make it as 400 pixels. Then you refresh your page, which will take immediate effect. Okay. I'll just click on the accounts, and then you see that the data is updated. Okay. So the next thing, the final thing that we want to do is make a transfer request. So for that, I just need a button, which I'll name it as transfers. Then when I click on this button, I want to open a pop-up where I want to ask for the details where you want to post the date, transfer account to, and then you can use it. So now I'll just drag and drop a design dialog. Yeah. So now in the design, in this dialog, I'll say transfer request. Now what this needs is, this needs an account number, and then the customer whom we want to transfer. So the customer list of customers, we can automatically show them in a live. Now I'll call this as choose customer. Sorry. Yeah, I'll call this label as choose customer. And then the list of items that, the list of people who should be coming from this should be again another variable which I already have from my database. So I just show the live variable of users data there. And in the data field, I just show account ID, and the display field can be changed to first name and last name. So however you want to display the data. So I want to show the last name and first name separated with a space, a comma. Now I want to show one more text box that takes the amount. And this text box I will call it as txt amount, and this text box I'll call it as txt account from, and this one I'll call it as target customer. So now what I want to do is I want to import another API which does the transfer request. So that is nothing but this post API that is creates an account transfer where the account ID is specified with this payer. So I use this API post request to make the payment. So I'll just import this. Now this is a post API. We need to import it with a post request. So I'll be importing with a post request. Then this is taking a JSON text, and the body of the content is this. Now when you make a request, it is created transaction and add to your account. Now you go to this. Now here if you look at it, this is the account ID of the payer. And then I'll call this as transfer request service. Now we have all the required information. Now let's go and create this import. Now we need to bind that information with the required thing. So now what I want to do is I want to get the account ID from the selected live list again, because we are in the context of live list. And then I want to get the other information from the dialog. So for that I already named my component, so I'll call it as text. TXT amount is my value that should be coming in from the account, amount, and payee ID is the target customer. Payee ID is the account from that I want to bind it. And I think I didn't bind the amount. Okay, I need to change that amount to medium is this is the balance that we'll be typing, changing it. So one more thing that I need to do before coming here is right now the amount value should be an integer, the number. So I'll change this to a number so that I can bind it easily. So now I go back to my variable. So in my data, so in the amount I'll just say my widget add amount. So medium should be, this is the fixed value which is of type, I want to transfer it from a balance. So I'll just fix it as my balance value. And description also, you can write any description, transfer from demo. Now, when I click on the save, I want to submit this. Now, when I click on this, on click, you say transfer request. That's it. Now your transfer is ready. What we can do, one more thing that is missing is when it is completed, we want to just go and update the video. Give a total message. So I'll call it as response from notification. Then I'll go to, so this is a notification call. I will use a toaster. And then the data, I'll just bind it from whatever data that is coming from the backend. This is the message that is coming from the backend. And I'll just show it for some time. And it's a success message, and toaster position should be bottom right. Now I want to bind this with my variable once the once the transfer is completed. So in the events, I will unsuccess. I will say notification variable 1. I want to also close the dialog. So dialog.hide. And also you may want to update another variable where you want to display the transfers updated. So transfer service invoke. So here we are doing a multi event action. Now the other thing that is missing was the transfer request has to now the transfer request, when I click on the transfer button, I want to show the dialog. This is the final thing that is we are doing in this. So now I want to show the dialog. Now application is complete. Now you can see the complete live application here. This is already seen, so we'll go to the accounts page. So I want to transfer it from my savings. So when I click on transfer request, it is automatic. Okay, I didn't find the value of select item in the account, so I just need to fix that. So here, the value of this should be coming from my live list select items ID. Now the ID is automatically populated. You choose the customer. Let's say I want to send it to Mayur. I want to send it as $150. So now, if you look at the transaction, I think, yeah, it's still pending here. So you see that the account is now pending status and it will automatically get credited once the account is done. So now you can go back to the other account and then you check out all these things are already there. The other thing that we didn't do here is you can apply the theme, the theme that works for you. So I just created a theme so that looks better. And then you can even change the login background and all other things. You can customize the UI the way that you want. So now the theme is applied. Now you can log in with some other account. Yeah, you see that this account has different set of information and it's balanced, and you can customize it the way that you want. So with this, I'm concluding the demo. So, Mayur, back to you.
Hey, thanks so much, Venu. That was wonderful. I'm just imagining if you had given me another half an hour, you probably would have built like 2 more such applications. So great job, and really nice to see your demo here. So folks, we are almost towards the end of the call. Basically, we would like to thank all of you for joining this call. We would watch out for our next webinar in the month of January. We keep doing this webinar every single month. So we are very excited to have you guys here. Just a couple of quick things before we wrap up the call. I have a couple of questions that were asked during the call. I'll just take a couple of them from them and then we'll answer the remaining during after the webinar. One question was, can I use WaveMaker to develop mobile apps? So WaveMaker now does support creating mobile hybrid apps. It gives you the same rapid application development drag and drop interface to create mobile hybrid apps. So we believe that is very unique to our platform, and please feel free to go to wavemakeronline.com and try out your mobile hybrid application development. Second question was, are there any limitations on deploying the app that is built using WaveMaker? The answer to that is no. WaveMaker provides you to create enterprise open web applications that can be deployed on any application server of your choice, be it on your public cloud, on Amazon, or it could be deployed on your private cloud within your enterprise. So you have the flexibility to deploy your apps wherever you want, and there is no vendor lock-in or proprietary lock-in for the applications that are built using WaveMaker. And the last question is, can I connect various external cloud services like Salesforce, SharePoint, etc., while creating my digital apps? The answer to that is yes. We have the ability to use APIs, as Venu showed in the demo as well, to connect to any external service that you can connect to, which are authenticated or non-authenticated services. We also have ability to use OAuth as a mechanism to connect to your external services. So you can connect to any services that you have access to. With that, thank you again so much for joining the webinar. I really appreciate your time. And Venu, thanks again so much for showing us a great demo. And looking forward all of you to go out to wavemakeronline.com and signing up for a free trial. And also looking back at you next time when we do this webinar. So again, thanks so much, and bye.